What if I told you that the average salary in the UK isn't just tight, it's a brutal, soul-crushing experience? You might believe an average income brings a degree of comfort, but I'm here to completely shatter that illusion for good. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on a month-long experiment, revealing the stark reality of surviving on the UK's average salary. You'll see precisely where every single penny went and the shocking truths hidden behind those seemingly acceptable numbers. After dedicating myself to this intense financial challenge, I've gained an unfiltered perspective that will change how you view average living here forever. In today's Britain, the average nominal salary might look passable on paper, but after relentless taxes, surging inflation, and the ever-increasing cost of living, my actual spending power felt less like a modern working adult and more like a student from decades past. Do you ever feel like you're constantly working hard, pouring your energy into your job, but your money just vanishes into thin air? It's as if it's swallowed whole by the endless cycle of rent, unavoidable bills, and the sheer daily grind. That's exactly how I felt every single day for an entire month. This challenge was about far more than just meticulously managing a budget. It was about truly feeling the relentless pinch, the gnawing anxiety, and the constant heartbreaking compromises that literally millions of people face right here in the UK. I set out with a clear goal: to understand if the average salary genuinely allows for anything resembling an average comfortable life, or if it's merely a tightrope walk teetering precariously over a financial abyss. My experience was anything but comfortable. It was a stark, profoundly eye-opening journey into the true, often hidden cost of living in contemporary Britain. So, how did I navigate this financial minefield? In this video, we'll dive deep into the precise rules governing my challenge, exposing every parameter. We'll then dissect a brutal line-by-line breakdown of where every single pound found a home. Prepare to uncover the truly heartbreaking sacrifices I was forced to make, and I'll expose the insidious hidden financial traps that lurk within UK living costs. Ultimately, I'll reveal my unfiltered verdict on whether the UK average salary is truly sustainable for a decent, dignified life. The verdict might surprise you, or it might just confirm your deepest unspoken fears. First, let's lay out the ground rules, the parameters of this financial crucible. This wasn't some theoretical exercise. It was a living, breathing experiment designed to mirror the stark reality for countless individuals across Britain. I'll outline the exact specific salary figure I lived on after tax, the precise net income that landed in my bank account. Crucially, I'll clarify what expenses were unequivocally included, the non-negotiables, and what strictly wasn't allowed. Within the bounds of this challenge, this wasn't about playing games with numbers. It was about simulating a real-world scenario with real-world consequences. Imagine seeing your take-home pay, a number that seems almost reasonable, until it immediately gets carved up, even before you've spent a single penny. That's the stark baseline, the raw, unvarnished figure that dictated absolutely everything else that followed. But knowing the number is one thing, feeling it is another entirely. And that's where the real pain began. Forget what you think an average salary means. Forget the pleasant, comfortable image it might conjure in your mind. I need to describe the immediate, almost visceral feeling of having such an incredibly limited budget in a high-cost country like the UK. It was less about managing money like a skilled juggler, and far, far more about constant, relentless scrimping and cutting corners at every turn. From the very first day, the initial shock hit me hard, quickly followed by the crushing realization that everyday items I had always taken for granted, things I barely registered purchasing, were now colossal considerations, demanding intense scrutiny. Even a simple morning coffee, a small pleasure many of us barely think twice about, transformed into an extravagant luxury, a potential budget buster that had to be justified or, more often, simply foregone. This wasn't about deprivation, it was about survival. And to truly understand survival, you need to see exactly where every single one of those hard-earned pounds went. This is where the numbers cease to be abstract figures and become brutally real. No hiding, no sugarcoating. I'm going to provide a transparent, line-by-line breakdown of my entire month's spending. We're talking rent, utilities, food, transport, and every other truly unavoidable cost that chipped away at my limited funds. There was absolutely no room for error. No unexpected expense could be absorbed without immediate, painful consequences. Imagine seeing a visual chart, a stark spreadsheet laid bare, showing precisely how my meager income was allocated. You'll witness with shocking clarity the disproportionate chunk, the enormous bite that essential housing costs took out of my budget before anything else was even considered. Compare this to your own spending habits. Truly reflect on it. Where do your hard-earned pounds go? With so much going on essentials, what do you think was left for anything else? The answer is stark. Survival on an average UK salary meant saying an emphatic no to almost everything beyond the most fundamental basic needs. This wasn't just about cutting out a few frivolous luxuries like an extra takeaway or a new gadget. This was about profound sacrifices that deeply impacted my social life, my mental well-being, and any semblance of future planning. I had to consciously, painfully, list specific things I had to give up. Evenings out with friends, cancelling long-held subscriptions, abandoning cherished hobbies, and even, most regrettably, choosing cheaper, less nutritious food options over fresh, healthy produce that my body genuinely craved. Imagine the choice, a proper meal or paying a bill. This isn't just about money. It's about the erosion of quality of life and the painful sacrifice of personal fulfillment. But just when I thought I had everything accounted for, the UK threw a few curveballs my way, the hidden costs that almost derailed the entire experiment. The UK financial landscape is notoriously rife with insidious, hidden costs that can derail any budget, but they become absolutely catastrophic when you're operating on a razor-thin margin. I'm going to expose the unexpected fees, the creeping cost of subscriptions you barely remember signing up for, and the unforeseen expenses that suddenly materialize, seemingly out of nowhere, threatening to push you over the edge. Think about it. An unexpected parking fine, a minor but essential home appliance suddenly breaking down, or even the subtle cost of trying to save money by doing things cheaply, like spending more on public transport to access a slightly cheaper supermarket. These aren't just minor inconveniences or small frustrations. When your budget is already on life support, these little things accumulate with terrifying speed, acting as budget assassins. They are the sneaky costs that almost broke me. And these financial pressures, these invisible drains, they don't just hit your wallet. They hit your mind, your spirit, and your very sense of hope. This challenge was about far more than just financial austerity. It took a profound and debilitating mental and emotional toll. The constant nagging worry, the relentless anxiety over every single penny spent, and the pervasive feeling of hopelessness were at times utterly overwhelming. Imagine sleepless nights spent staring at the ceiling, recalculating your dwindling balance, the immense pressure of every single spending decision, no matter how small. Picture the gut-wrenching fear of an unexpected bill dropping through the letterbox, knowing you simply don't have the buffer to absorb it. And then there's the sheer mental exhaustion, the grinding fatigue that comes from living perpetually on the edge, always just one misstep away from disaster. This is the real, often unacknowledged price of financial precarity in the UK. It's a constant low-level hum of dread that wears you down day by day. After all this, the question looms large. Is this average sustainable? My verdict is in, and it's
not pretty. After a month of intense financial scrutiny, of profound personal sacrifice, and of living under a cloud of constant anxiety, I can now deliver my unfiltered, stark verdict. Does the UK average salary truly allow for a decent, dignified, and sustainable life? The answer, as you might have gathered from my journey, is complex, deeply sobering, and for many, incredibly harsh. I'll summarize the key challenges I encountered: the absolute lack of any meaningful savings, the complete absence of discretionary spending that makes life enjoyable, and the relentless, pervasive stress that became my constant companion. This isn't about simply surviving, it's about thriving, about building a future, and on this income, that seems like a distant, perhaps even impossible dream. My conclusion is clear. The current average in the UK often means a life of perpetual struggle. This experiment changed my perspective entirely. And the lessons I learned, they're not just for me, they're crucial for anyone living in Britain today. This experiment delivered some truly profound insights, shattering preconceived notions and completely shifting my perspective on what it genuinely means to be average in the UK today. I'll share my most significant financial and personal revelations, the wake-up calls that hit me hardest. Among them, the absolutely critical importance of establishing and maintaining an emergency fund, no matter how small, as a vital shield against life's inevitable curveballs. Then there's the insidious, creeping nature of inflation, quietly eroding your purchasing power when your budget is already razor-thin. And finally, the shocking speed with which even seemingly small, insignificant expenses accumulate, becoming insurmountable obstacles when every penny truly counts. It stripped away any complacency I might have had. Are you truly prepared for the unexpected, or are you hoping it simply won't happen to you? Now, after painting such a bleak picture, you might be wondering, is there any hope for building something more than just survival on an average income? It's a tough question, but let's explore it. Given the brutal reality I've just described, it feels almost contradictory to ask, but I must. Is there any room to move beyond mere survival, to even consider saving or building wealth on an average income in the UK? It's an incredibly difficult, almost insurmountable proposition for most. We'll explore, however briefly and cautiously, what truly extreme budgeting looks like, where every single expenditure is scrutinized to its absolute core.
We'll touch upon leveraging every possible free resource available, and perhaps most tellingly, the absolute necessity of side hustles, not for extra cash or luxuries, but purely for basic financial resilience to create that minuscule margin of safety. This isn't about luxury, it's about a tiny glimmer of hope, a desperate attempt to gain even minimal financial ground. But let's be realistic. For many, this isn't a path to wealth. It's a fight for basic dignity. I've shared my brutal journey. Now it's time to put you in my shoes. Could you survive this? I've laid bare my month of financial struggle, the compromises, the anxieties, and the stark realities. Now I'm turning the tables directly to you. After witnessing my journey, I want you to honestly, truly consider: could you endure a month on the UK average salary, embracing all its stringent restrictions and the profound emotional strain that comes with it? Imagine your current rent, your existing bills, and then try to fit absolutely everything else you consider necessary, from food to transport to even a hint of social connection, into a mere fraction of what you currently earn. What would be the very first thing you'd be forced to cut? How would your mental well-being fare under that relentless, crushing pressure? This isn't a hypothetical for millions across our country. It is their daily, exhausting reality. This experiment wasn't about judgment. It was about exposing a stark, uncomfortable truth that impacts far too many. This entire experiment wasn't conceived as a judgment on anyone's financial situation or choices. Far from it. My purpose was singular: to expose a difficult, often unacknowledged truth about modern Britain. Every single day you choose to ignore the harsh realities of living on an average income in the UK is a day you might be severely underestimating the silent, relentless struggles faced by literally millions of your fellow citizens. Remember this: it's not just about the cold, impersonal numbers on a spreadsheet, the pounds and pence tallied up. It's about the profound human cost, the overwhelming stress, the constant anxiety, and the relentless, soul-crushing pressure of simply trying to make ends meet in this increasingly expensive corner of the world. Understanding this shared burden is the first vital step towards meaningful change. If this raw, unfiltered insight into the brutal reality of living on the UK average salary resonated with you, if it sparked something within you, please hit that like button to support this kind of challenging content. Subscribe to the channel
For more deep dives and uncomfortable truths. And crucially, in the comments section below, tell me, what was your single biggest surprise from this entire experiment? Or what's your absolute top tip for surviving and navigating life on an incredibly tight budget here in the UK? Your insights could help someone else. The journey to truly understanding our complex financial landscape begins with the courage to confront the harsh realities, no matter how brutal or uncomfortable they may seem to us. My sincere hope is that this experiment serves as a powerful, undeniable wake-up call, inspiring not just conversation, but genuine dialogue and concrete action towards building a more sustainable and equitable financial future for absolutely everyone living in the UK. We all deserve better than mere survival. Stay financially aware, keep asking the difficult questions, and never ever stop questioning what we are told is average. Thank you for watching.